you suffer from chronic CFED or can't focus energy drain? Try over-the-counter Vibrant. One tablet contains the same caffeine as a cup of coffee, but without the calories or coffee breath. Vibrant. Caffeine, not coffee. Taking Vibrant may result in increased productivity and decreased dread in setting alarms. Unexpected enjoyment of the graveyard shift has been associated with Vibrant. Vibrant may be a better budget option than drinking coffee. It may also decrease the urge to doze off, skip work, or exhibit signs of slacking. All jokes aside, always read the label, take only as directed, and limit caffeine as it may cause real side effects. Not for children under age 12.
Everybody, and welcome to the special edition show. I am your host, Tracie Mahan, and I am here tonight with the wonderful Lynn. And look at me, Clarke. I went and moved my page over and lost the last name. Sorry about that, Lynn. I'm going to do a proper introduction, though. Lynn is a certified teacher in both regular and special education, having taught in New Hampshire and Washington State. She has worked on global projects providing opportunities for youth to engage as peace activists and environmental stewards. Lynn moved to the Pacific Northwest 4 years ago and discovered James Gilliland's Isetti Ranch in Trout Lake, Washington, which is where I met Lynn. After her first experience there, Lynn's core belief systems were profoundly changed. She left teaching in the public school system to homeschool, as she could no longer contribute to being part of the puppet show of broken system. Today, her and her son volunteer each season as crew members to support in the awakening and healing process of humanity. Lynn's recent work has been to assist educators and children during these transition times, working on projects that help co-create a better way for our future generations. And I can't be more excited about that than I am right now to hear more, Lynn. So I'm just going to have you kind of come in and tell your story about how you found James and how it evolved into what you're doing now.
Sure. So. Great. Thanks, Tracie. I'm so glad to be here, and what a beautiful gift that you share with everyone.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I love to share people. That's my thing. I find someone and then I got to share them. So yeah. And as someone who has children in these school systems and have experienced lots of frustration with that over the years, I'm excited to hear from a teacher's perspective what you were seeing from the inside as the public school teacher. Questions. So I'll let you go. I'm going to let you tell your story, and then we'll go into questions.
Great, thank you. Well, how my journey started while I was teaching, part of my responsibility as a special educator was that I had to restrain children, and it was very hard for me. I felt it was very invasive, and there were times when not all the teachers were trained with the same modality to help these children. So it became more of a safety issue sometimes for the child and the staff. So I started learning more about alternative healing modalities and how to make it more proactive than to have the child in crisis to begin with. So my first experience was with emotional freedom technique with tapping. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that.
I'm very familiar. I love it.
Yeah, so you tap on the different meridian points, and to me that was like the least invasive modality that I could share with my students. And I was so excited about it that I wanted to try to get the administrators on board and have it start being taught from kindergarten on. And, what a great coping strategy that would be for life for them. And when I did share it with the administrators, they weren't ready for it. It was a long time ago, and it was before when EFT, shortly after it had come out, and there wasn't enough research to back it. And at that time, Brain Gym was available in the classrooms, but to me, emotional freedom technique was a better tool for students to use. So after, I was able to, I couldn't teach my students about it. I could share the information with parents, and I could do it myself. So I would just shift the energy in my classroom, so it wasn't, I usually never had problems with students after I learned that. So it worked for that purpose. And then I started learning more about Reiki and energy work. And I grew up in a psychic family, so I was aware of, the different gifts that people had and shared, and that we all are capable of learning and practicing. And so to me, it wasn't woo-woo, and I think a lot of the administrators thought it was, and it's a 3D thinking. So that's where we're at with all that. So then I think through the years, I started also coming across like different things. I had a strong connection with nature growing up, and so when I was teaching, instead of teaching about Christopher Columbus, I had a Native American connection because they believed in caring for the land, and I know that the true story of what happened to the Native Americans. So I shared that instead of teaching about Columbus, and just things like that where it was a little bit off the program track from what the teachers were supposed to be teaching in the classroom. And I know that my students were a lot more receptive and responsive and enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, probably refreshing for them to get some truth.
Yes. And from that experience, I recognized that students knew a lot more. They had a lot more inner knowing that I, certainly wasn't aware when I first started teaching, but as I taught longer and longer, it was more evident.
Yeah.
And so then what really started me like questioning things was when I had, I was doing a unit on Martin Luther King Jr. with my students for Civil Rights Day, and started researching more about him to share with them, and found out in my research that there was a trial that Coretta Scott King was involved in before she passed, and it wasn't James Earl Ray who had assassinated Martin Luther King. And that's what we're teaching in the classroom, and I was like, this is strange, and it's right on their website, the MLK's website, and so it just made me start thinking about, what else are we teaching our students that aren't, that isn't the truth. And so we thought we were going to move in 2009, and that didn't happen. But I had left the school system then, and because we didn't move, I started doing more work with nonprofits and environmental education and things like that. And then when we finally moved out here, it was like shortly after that, I started watching Ancient Aliens because I've always been fascinated with the stars and the cosmos and learning more about our natural world, and came across James in one of the episodes, and he was talking about the Yakima Nation and how the Yakima people used to bring their sick up to the top of Mount Adams to be healed, and would have relationships with the star beings. And I found out it was only, just less than 2 hours down the road, and had to go.
Yeah, that was how I felt when I found James. 2 hours? What?
Yeah.
In the car.
Yeah. And I had gone to one of my son's actually conferences, and he shared with his teacher that I liked watching Ancient Aliens, and his teacher said, there's no such thing. There's no such thing as, any other beings from different planets. And I was a little bit frustrated. And so when I learned, especially when I learned about the ranch, I was like, I have to go and have my own experience. I could never tell a student that that's not true.
Right.
I would want them to do their own research. If a child comes up to me and says that they believe something, and I don't know about it, I would want them to learn more about it and share it with me, or we could research it together, or investigate it further. But I would never tell a child that something isn't true. I
Right.
would want to be able to learn more about it and really find their own truth.
Yeah, ask
So,
them, well, how do you feel about that, and gauge in where the kid's at with the information they're giving you, you know.
right.
But wow.
Yeah,
So
so
we all
that was,
know better. Everyone listening to this show knows better.
yeah, yes,
So
your audience is more aware and awakened with all that.
yeah.
So when I went and had my first experience, not only did I see starships all over the place, there was also a gentleman, Winston Shrout, who was presenting, and he teaches about sovereignty and solutions in commerce. And then I learned that our whole government system is totally different, the total opposite of what we teach students in the schools as well. And
Yeah.
I mean, to just it was totally different, total paradigm shifting, and so I just couldn't go back to the public school teaching that next year, and decided to homeschool my son, and we volunteer at the ranch as often as we can, and it has been such a beautiful gift.
Yeah. And so one of the questions I have for you right off the bat is, why do you think the schools don't teach the truth? What is the purpose of not having the truth being out there? Because if we're finding it, then obviously the people that create our history books also have access to this.
Yes, there's, to me, one of the greatest injustices that we haven't provided for our kids is that here in the West, we have not taught them that they're energetic beings. Every other culture across the globe, kids are aware that they're taught at a very young age that, they have chi or, whatever energy you want to call it, and they're connected to the all that is. And people use different words for that. But when we separated church and state, we were never ever able to talk to students and let them know that they're spirits, or they're spiritual beings, or they're energetic beings. And I think if we had taught them that, they would know they're connected to everything. So why would we want to hurt the planet? Why would we want to hurt each other? And, we are here indoctrinated to as corporate slaves.
Right. Well, before we get into the corporate slaves, I'm going to welcome on a few more people that joined us. We have Debbie and Kathy and Karen in the chat room, and it's reminding me that I need to let everyone know how to get to the chat room. I have a chat room on Facebook. It's called Heart and Soul Radio Chat. It is a private group, so please ask to join the group if you're not already a member. And we have a chat banner going on over there. And we welcome any questions that you have for Lynn. If you did join late, I have Lynn Clarke with me on the show. And she is a former public teacher that is now homeschooling and that is what we're diving into. Why did she switch to homeschooling, and kind of getting into the nitty-gritty of that. There is also the Blog Talk Radio Chat, and I will be bouncing back and forth on the chats to see if anybody is asking questions. You are welcome to call in tonight if you'd like. However, we are not doing readings. So if you call in, please have a question that pertains to the topic that we are talking about tonight, and that is whether or not the school systems are stealing the light, not stealing, taking, depleting the light, dimming the light in our children, however you want to look at it. The call-in number is 323-642-1397. Okay, so you decided to homeschool, and what would be your main purpose for wanting? There's been knowledge that our history books may be out of date or different things like that, but what makes you want to homeschool versus sending your son to a public school?
Well, as a 3D teacher, I, was following the programs and proudly stood with all of my students every day to pledge allegiance to the flag, and was really proud and loved the work that I was doing. And then when I learned, when I had that experience, when I went to ESETI and found out more about how our government is so different than what I was teaching in the public school system, it was just paradigm shifting for me. I learned that, instead of just the way that our whole government system is, like, with the president, and then learned from the presenter, Winston Trout, who was there that weekend as well, that's just all for the audience. There's always somebody else running the show behind the scenes. And then just about how when we first are born, our parents, when we sign the birth certificate, and I did the same thing for my children, we basically sign over our rights and they become state property. And so it was just all those different things that I learned that weekend, as well as things like the toxins that are in vaccinations, and then had the experience with my first starships that I saw, and so for me, I was able to be home with him, and I was so grateful for that. And I know it's not ideal for every couple to be able to have that luxury, and so for me that was, those are the biggest reasons why, and for me to spend that time with my son.
So I'm going to kind of segue into the ESETI Ranch. And so your first visit there, you experienced seeing ships, correct?
Yeah.
And was that the first time that you ever realized, looking up in the sky, what you were looking at?
Yes. I had seen things before, but I wasn't really sure. But I definitely energetically felt different there, saw a lot more. There were a lot more like-minded people there, so maybe that had a lot to do with it. It was just a beautiful experience.
Yeah, and you guys are going to hear my large puppy in the background chewing on a box. It's kind of like when you give a baby a pacifier and they're not crying, but they're making loud sucking noises. We're just going to deal with that, because if I take that away, it's going to be worse. So now, one of the things I wanted to say is to me, this is a big piece, that we are spiritual beings, and teaching our children that we're spiritual beings, but also that we are not the only ones that exist, that there are all kinds of different beings out there in our universe, and some of them available for us to have experience and connection with. And I was excited to see that there was some new footage coming up on James's Facebook page, website, email, the emailers that he does, where they're actually capturing some of these ships and being able to post about them. And it's one of those things for me. It's like, okay, now that I've been to the ranch and I've met James and I've seen how honest and genuine everyone there is, and what a wonderful welcoming experience it is. And you were part of that for me. You came around with the night vision goggles, and we had nice little conversations, and it just feels like home when you go there.
Yeah.
And yeah, the whole staff, everybody makes it feel so welcoming and comfortable. And so when I see James post something, or something gets posted by his staff on the site, I trust it. That's something that's exciting to me, because having a connection now with this group, when that gets posted, I believe it. Whereas if I see something on YouTube, I'm kind of like, that could have been doctored, or it could be somebody that's looking for some attention, or and it's like, it's kind of hard when you don't know the source
Right.
So it's been exciting to me to see some of the stuff that's been coming available to us. And so if I'm inviting the audience that if you would like to see something that's pretty credible, find James's, what is his, the site that he posts on is the ECETI Ranch one though, right? I believe.
His channel is the ECETI Stargate, and I'll pull that up for everyone. And it was just recent, just a couple weeks ago, there was a huge ship. I don't know if you saw that video. Oh, it was beautiful.
The one, the ship that was sitting up on the ridge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, sorry. That was
that needed to have some powerful music behind it. So that's funny. That one is, because I was there and I know where that location is. If you haven't been there, you might be like, well, that could be a road. If you're there, if you've been there, that's not a road. That's those lights up there. Even if it were a road, you would never see the lights like that ever. That's too far away. And
it's like
so that's some.
From where we were at.
That was some pretty. Were you there when that?
No,
at the ranch?
We and I were just there like the weekend before, and then the weekend after, and we just missed it.
It's like they're teasing you. Yeah, and then I think I was telling you earlier, Jimmy Church had posted some footage where he was taking pictures of the opening.
Yes, I was there that weekend.
Yeah, and did you see where he had the picture with the ship? Yes. Yeah, that was pretty cool too.
Outside there.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. And so, I think that's pretty. I don't even have words for how special that must be for you to be able to spend time like that with your son on the ranch and be able to have those experiences and have him grow up with this broader idea of what the world is and what you can do with that, and how magical it is. And again, James is one of the first ones that'll say they're not all nice, It's like don't think that you gotta, just like not all people are nice. You gotta keep that in mind. But
and it makes sense. There are billions of galaxies that are billions of years older than ours. Why wouldn't there be life somewhere else?
Yeah.
And there's so much more advanced technology and technologically wise, and with their multidimensional telepathy, and they can phase in and out, and they're just obviously more highly intelligent.
Yeah.
So it's important for us to understand that there are, just like humans, negative and positive ones. The positive ones, and it's interesting because since I was at the ranch, I was able to speak with Mary Rodwell, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with her work, but she just recently published a book called The New Human, and it was she had interviewed hundreds and hundreds of children and parents and teachers across the globe, and she learned more about these new humans coming in, and we've heard about the indigo children and the crystal children, and we ourselves are light workers, and we know that we want harmony on the planet, and so for me, after just reflecting more on my life, and I know that from a young age that I've journaled since I was a little girl. As soon as I could write out, wanting peace, health, and happiness throughout the planet, throughout the world, throughout the galaxy. I still have my journals. And so I know all of us here, we know that we're here to help assist at this time. That's what our souls chose, and that's why we're all here.
Yeah.
But what Mary's finding out is that the children coming in now, not only are they having psychic abilities, they're remembering their past lives. And what's happening in the public school system that I've been learning more and saw, I witnessed as a teacher, is that, the more we program and just have them follow fit into this little box, then the more we're taking away their abilities. We're taking away any gifts that they've had, any past life memories that they've had, and that's why a lot of kids coming in today are having such a hard time in the public school system.
Yeah. Is there any way for us to change the system, or is it going to take those, I know that right now we got the millennials entering into kind of an important stage of their lives where they're creating change, and they were they're part of the children that got, I'm going to call it dumbed down from the school system, because not that we weren't. I think all the way. Yeah, and I feel like there's change coming for the school system, but is it going to be the kind of change that we need to see to really allow our children to flourish and to expand their consciousness and be what they can be in this world? Or are we still kind of at the beginning stages of that?
Well, from Mary's research, what she's been finding is that there's so many children coming in now that are here, and they specifically know that they are here to assist us at this time.
Yeah.
Look
at all the little prodigy children. I watched a video where one little girl spoke 7 languages, and she was 5 years old, and she spoke them fluently.
It's amazing. Yes.
Yeah.
They know that they're vibrational beings. They know that they have to have their frequency a certain, raise their frequency to have everyone around them raise their frequency. That they have that awareness.
Yeah, that's wonderful. What would it have been like if we came in with that awareness?
I know.
We had to learn it. So
yeah.
Why did we raise our hands first?
We had to unlearn and then relearn.
Yeah. And I have a couple of nieces in my family that my older niece Erica, I'm going to throw her name out there. When she was born, from the time she could talk, she could see her Grandma Rose and the angels, and she would give messages to her mom and dad, which would freak out her dad, but her mom is my sister, and so she'd kind of be like calling me up going, hey, this is what Erica did today, and I'd be like, I'm so jealous.
No.
And then I have, and so they supported it, and she, I think naturally went into a state of letting that go for a little bit so that she could get through school and do what she needed to do. And I just know, I have this knowing and feeling that she's going to come right back into it full force when the time is right. And it's not that she doesn't still do it. She just doesn't really talk to us about it anymore. But when she was little, she was giving messages to everybody, and it was fun. She was accurate. It was good.
That is awesome.
And then another one of my nieces kind of falls into this dim the light thing, where she was getting information, and my sister-in-law got freaked out about it and went to the priest at their church, and their response was, we can pray this out of her. That's the devil. And I was just horrified. I was like, no, that's her. Don't pray that out of her. And so they scared her from tuning in and being available to the information flowing like that. So, it's kind of hard when you see that side of it, when you see how special and gifted a child is, and then you see someone take that away from them and make them afraid of it. It's hard.
Yes, definitely. Speaking of that, I'll share with you. This was a quote from Mary's book, The New Human. And this was Kathy, a 9-year-old in Europe. And she said the schools program, she was talking about the schools. So they program you out of your light There is nothing good about the system. Children are programmed and the teachers just push the keys. School programs are a virus. It extinguishes the light we have inside of us. We lose our access to the information we had in the beginning. And there are just all different stories about different children's experiences. And what was interesting, reading some of Mary's interviews from some of the teachers that are able to help some of these children now have had experiences with off-world beings at a young age, and they remember. Wow. So that's been really helpful for some of them, but not, obviously not all teachers are at that, have that recollection from there, or even know even that as an option in life. So
yeah. And I'm going to read a couple of the comments in our chat room that are going on. And Kathy's saying that it makes her sad that so many children are diagnosed with some form of disability. And, we all know children that have had that happen. And and then Karen's in here talking about the way that the report cards are done, 20 types of behavior, and if you disagree with the teacher, you get punished or shunned. And it's true. My kids have been through it. And, I had an experience with a teacher where the teacher, I supported what the teacher did in the beginning, the first stage of correcting a behavior that was going on, but then took it too far, just really to a point of being a bully and being a real jerk. And so I let him know that. And I said, you know what? I'm going to have my son apologize for the part he played in this, but I want you to apologize for the part that you played when you took it too far. And he would not apologize at all. And I was just so disappointed in that. And I was really proud of my son for stepping up and doing the apology anyway on his end. And then he had to go write, 3 paragraphs of why he was such a bad kid. It was horrible. And as a parent, my hands were tied. It's like, okay, if I take him out of the school, I don't have time to homeschool him. I don't know where to go from here. And it did turn out that the rest of the year went fine and they got along great, and he never got punished like that again. But, it's like, this happens to so many kids, and not all the parents are awake enough to go in and call the teacher out on that,
right.
And it's not that, and I have to say, he's a good teacher. He wasn't the first son that he's had in his classroom. They just had a little personality conflict, and that was the wrong day to have it, apparently. Right. And it just went really wrong. But I was disappointed that he didn't own the part that he did. And it was, so anyway, there's enlightenment that needs to happen all the way around. And one of the things that you were saying is that you are working with teachers. And I kind of want to hear more about that.
So one of the things from my experience when I was teaching is that I witnessed some teachers do some of the things exactly what you were saying. And so I always wanted to be a collaborative team member and try to help at grade levels. We'd have grade level team meetings, and as special educators would have special ed team meetings. So I was able to have that opportunity to have those conversations and not be confrontational, which is really, I think, a gift that I was able to facilitate at that time. But some of the teachers have been the most control over others that I've seen. There definitely are teachers out there that are like that. I've heard teachers throughout the years, like I'd have a student on my caseload that had special needs or was diagnosed with special needs, and then their sibling would be coming in the next year or 2 years down the road, and the teacher would automatically pass judgment on the student that hadn't even arrived yet and compare that student to their sibling.
Yeah.
Just things like that. And so it was always really important for me to help the educators that I was working with. But now I think my purpose is to help the educators become more awakened to all the different truths that they should know. Hopefully can learn and become more awakened and do their research. But what's happening now is that the school systems, and it's not the educators' fault. I mean, I know that so many of the teachers that I've worked with are so heart-centered and want to impact these children's lives, but their hands are tied sometimes, I feel, for them to be able to do their own research, because there are new initiatives that they have to learn, new computer programs that they have to learn. They have to, be able to teach. They have to do all their lessons around Common Core, and there are a lot of resources for them available, but it's overwhelming for them to find time after their day, meetings after school and all that, to be able to have time to do their own research about finding the truths for themselves.
Yeah.
They have to do their accountability piece and have evidence of their classroom performance, and it's just overwhelming, the responsibilities that they have. So I'm working on a platform to be able to provide them information where it's kind of there in tidbits, where it's not too overwhelming, because there's going to be a time when they are learning these truths that they go into, it's going to be a grieving process.
Oh yeah. When you learn that everything you thought you knew is wrong,
mm-hmm.
it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's powerful to have that happen, and to realize that what you thought, and now I live that way. It's like everything I think I know today can change
mm-hmm.
tomorrow,
mm-hmm.
and it probably will change tomorrow. That's the world we live in. The information's always changing, and as we become more aware, we start realizing that's another illusion. That's another illusion. Debbie is asking in the chat room for what would you recommend for somebody who cannot homeschool their child and want to support their child in this environment, such as myself? It's
right.
like what kind of options are out there when I have two kids that, well, my one son does pretty good in school, but the other one is struggling in required classes. And I had mentioned that earlier. He does super amazing at all of his fun elective classes that he wants to be in, but the other classes, he does not even try. He just gets horrible grades. He's not turning in homework. I know he's got a lack of interest in the subject. That I don't know if you can help me with, but what about, what do you tell
finding things to motivate, if it's student, your child isn't interested in that particular core subject, that is challenging. And, it could be the teacher's teaching style. I would, if I had more information, I could probably help give you some better answers for that. But outside of all that, definitely getting kids outside as much as you can. I had done a lot of environmental education, and all of the students that I brought out, I did enrichment programs and after-school programs, and then when I was working with, I think it was 3rd and 4th graders, I had a caseload of special needs students that definitely I knew that they would benefit from being outside, and got them outside as often as I could. And especially now where all the different energy, the solar flares coming in, and we're in a different place in the cosmos and getting bombarded with all the different energies, to be able to go outside and ground is so important right now. So providing that opportunity for kids as often as we can is really, really helpful at this time, and it's helpful for us too. So, we all should be outside as often as we can right now.
And that brings up another subject. We had an amazing day today with a lot of sunshine, and it's one of the things that I heard is that the sun is actually helping us to bring in upgrades or download information. What is it with the sunshine that we actually need the sun, as long as we're not like out sunbathing in extreme heat, and burning our bodies. But what is the sun offering us?
It's helping us with the ascension process and our DNA upgrades.
Okay, so to have our kids out there in the sun along with us, very important, it sounds like.
Yes.
To just keep us on task with all the shift that the Earth is going through.
Yes, and with the Schumann resonance, being able to be in rhythm with the Earth.
Let's talk about that Schumann resonance here real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the audience may not know what that is, so let's. If you don't mind telling people what that is and then how much it's changed, that would be, I think, a fascinating thing for some of the audience to hear.
Right. So it's a measurement that the person's first name came up with an instrument that could basically measure the frequency of the planet. And we have been at the same vibrational frequency for a long time. I don't know how many.
Which has been a pretty low frequency compared to where we're at now, right?
7.8 or something.
Yeah.
And now it's going in the 500s, 800s. And so for us to get outside and just be able to ground ourselves in the earth during this time, because if we're inside and we're, getting bombarded with electromagnetic frequencies and it changes our frequency to become lower. And with the ascension of the planet, we want to be able to be at the highest vibrational frequency that we can be.
Yeah. Now, the children, I mean, the ones that are coming in now, they're probably already set up with the higher vibrational frequency, along with the extra strands of DNA and everything else that we're physically moving towards. But what about some of the older children? Are they, or even those in their 20s, teens, 20s? Are they also kind of already in that vibration state, or are there ascension things that they need to be doing?
James had shared that there was some, actually it's probably a couple of months ago, there was a girl that came to visit, and she was, I think, like 27, and she was like a ninth dimensional being, James said. Mm-hmm. So I just think it depends on the person and their incarnation here at this time. But mostly, I think, from my experience, when I'm there as a volunteer, anyone that's been like 25 and under, they've already, they come in with hardly, I don't think, any past lives that they have to heal. They came in for this purpose.
Yeah. One of the things, I'm going to totally jump off topic, but you kind of got me curious because of an experience I have as a reader. One of the things that I was finding is that some of the first wave and potentially even second wave of people, of volunteers, I just want to see if you've ever heard this before, have come in to actually take on karma for other family members so that they can make it to the ascension?
Yes.
Okay, so that is good. Thank you for confirming that for me, because I get that quite a bit as a reading, is that part of the reason their life has been so hard for them is because they're clearing karma that they volunteered to come in and clear to help their family line make the ascension. So, there's a lot of things going on in this world that we don't learn about in school, and it is powerful to have this information and to understand it. So
yes, Shannon Leichner, she teaches a Theta Healing certification course at the ranch, and so I went through that program, and when I went through that program, we learned during the certification process that there are those relationships from past lives, and sometimes it's hard if, again, that's not your core belief, and to learn more about that and try to have a better understanding about it, but we are capable of healing all that and clearing all that. So there are ways to move through that, so we're not letting it interfere with this lifetime.
Yeah. And people really, okay, I'm getting an echo, so I don't know what's happening with that. I hope you guys are hearing us okay. But one of the things that I notice is for me personally, the clientele is really, it seems like I'm always saying, there's a past life attached to that. Let's clear it. And it's like we're just kind of ushering all of that out and getting rid of it. And like there's a big push for that right now. Would you agree that the energy is kind of supporting to push all that out?
Yes. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So for all of you guys that are out there kind of struggling with something, there's probably a past life attached to that. And ask the angels to come in and help you clear that up and heal it. The biggest thing, my understanding is the biggest thing you can do to move that along is just be forgiving in all aspects. Forgive yourself and forgive all involved and move that energy out. There's no reason to hang on to it anyways. So, yeah. Do I still have you with me?
Yep.
Okay. I was hearing a beeping noise. I didn't know if I lost you. I was going to be sad.
Oh, no.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask a question here in the chat room. Karen says, how do you know where you are right now in the ascension as far as past life traumas, etc.?
For me, I don't know if you have done any kinesiology.
And when you bring up these modalities, I may have you explain them just in case people don't know what they are.
Right. So any type of muscle testing, or if you've used a pendulum. So they're just different tools that you can use, and there's all different ways that you can do muscle testing. But the simplest way that I do it is you just make like the OK sign with your dominant hand, and you take your pointer finger and put it into the O part, and you have like a kind of a light pinch on your O, and you just pull it, and you can feel, you pull it with your other hand's index finger, and you can feel that the fingers separate. So you can ask, like, is my name, and then say whatever your name is, and you can feel that it's tight when you say your real name, and then you can ask, is my name John, and it'll come apart easily. So you know that that's not a yes. And so that's just a simple way, but and I
just posted a link I found here real quick where it has several different ways to muscle test. Mm-hmm. And the one that Lynn's talking about is the second one down. So if that helps you guys to get a visual for what she is saying, that's over in the Heart and Soul radio chat. And let me go put it over here in the Blog Talk chat as well. I don't want to play favorites. So there you guys go. It's over there in that one as well. And
just play with it. I mean, these are great tools that you can use for everything. Like even if you're thinking of, a food item, or a certain vitamin, a certain brand, or you can use it for everything pretty much. Yeah,
it's true. And when you get used to using that muscle testing resource, then it does kind of become your fallback. It's like, I don't know, let me test that.
Right.
Is that going to be in my highest good? No.
Right.
So another one that I used just the other day was my dowsing rods.
Mm-hmm. I don't have any.
A lot of. What's that?
I don't have any, but James has some at the ranch, and I love them. They're awesome.
You know what mine are? They're a wire hanger and a straw. So you
Oh,
bend
wow.
the wire hanger in a little L shape, and then you put the straw on the shorter end of that, and you curl it up
Yeah.
so the straw sits there loosely, and then you can just hold on to them, and there's your dowsing rod. And you can, if you guys want to build dowsing rods, they're really easy to do, and you can just go to YouTube and search, making my own dowsing rods, and it'll show you how to do that with coat hangers. So,
Nice.
yeah, and I've used the fancy ones, but these little coat hangers, they like me. They do good. So, yeah.
So it was Karen that was asking that, right? That question?
Yeah.
Because that will help you if you want to try to explore yourself, but there are certainly people that can help you too. Anyone that does theta healing can help you with that and try to clear those out for you if you do have any.
Yeah, and sometimes it's nice to have somebody else working with you on, when it's our stuff, it's harder to see it. So having somebody help you with the theta healing or there's so many modalities out there. So find the one that feels like it resonates for you and try it.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got about 9 minutes left on the show, and so I don't want to run out of time before we put your website out there. And do you work with people like one-on-one? What do you offer? I know you have a website, so let's go ahead and give that out.
I have done energy work and honoring the gift of you. That's what I call it. So I do that at my house, or if I'm ever at the ranch, people are always able to catch me there too if they come for a workshop or a Skywatch weekend. And I personally am learning more, exploring more of my own spiritual journey, and so I certainly would be willing to help anyone if they called me or wanted my advice or support in any way.
Yeah, and I know that I asked you if you wanted to do readings tonight, and I'll have to tell you that that Julia Cannon would probably be growling at me right now because I made her do readings last week for me. I said, everyone's psychic, you can do these. And I put it out there. And I didn't do that to you because I don't know you well enough yet. I didn't want to put you on the spot and scare you away from me. But next time I have you on, we'll have you do some readings. And so it's such a neat way to just really get into the energy when you can tap into people you don't know and be able to get those answers and help them with something that's going on in their life. So I want you to keep expanding and exploring everything you can do, because that's what I like to do. I like to help people find what it is that they do, what is their gift, and help you get out there with it. So definitely you've got a beautiful energy for doing any kind of energy treatment, whatever modality you use. If you guys can get a session from Lynn, I think you should, because her energy is amazing, and she's just a very kind and loving and supportive person. So take advantage of that beautiful kindness and look her up. And you'll find her website, by the way, at lynclarke.org. And you said you were going to restructure your website a little bit. Were you working on it?
That since I shifted gears, I was doing a lot more grant writing and sustainability projects, but so I have to do some updating, so please be patient with me.
Yeah, of course we have patience with you, and it's wonderful. Okay, so we have, I think we had, I had one that I wanted to read that I didn't read yet that Debbie put on there, and she said that she had a discussion with her 87-year-old brother recently about aliens, and his comment was, anyone who doesn't believe in aliens has never read the Bible.
Right.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's all over in there. the fiery chariot from the sky, all kinds of stuff in there.
Yeah.
So I agree, Debbie. If they are reading the Bible, they're only seeing what they want to see. If they don't think that we've been visited by aliens, and
thank you too.
Yeah.
For sharing.
Yeah. Exactly. So, well, it's been a wonderful show and very insightful. I know that there's a lot of us out there that are frustrated with the school system, not necessarily the teachers or the staff by any means, but the system that they're structured to go by. And the stuff that the poor teachers have to, I know the teachers are frustrated too. And I applaud you for the shift that you made in that, and for the difference you're making for the children when you're with what you're doing and stepping up and advocating on their behalf about what's going on in the schools and creating change around that. Even if the change is I'm taking my child out and I'm going to homeschool them. It's a powerful statement to make. And Kathy was the one that was with me at the ranch when we met you, so she's saying hi.
Hi.
So, yeah. Anyways, wonderful show. I thank you so much for being here with me, and I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the show because I'm getting a really strange echo in my ear, and I don't know if that's going out live. So if it is, then it's going to make it hard to listen to it. So let's go ahead and close the show out. Thank you, Lynn, for saving me tonight and coming on the show. And what an important topic. I look forward to more interaction with you in the future. And good night, everybody. I'll be back next week with another guest. And I think we're going to possibly talk about survival skills for all of this change that's coming. So, some good shows to listen to. Lots of changes coming on our planet. And please go visit me over on the Patreon page. It's patreon.com/Tracie Mahan, and come over there and support me. I do hypnosis catered to you. You can tell me the kind of hypnosis you would like to see on there, and if I can do it, I will. So come on over and join me there. Okay, Lynn, you have a wonderful night, and thank you. My heart goes out to you for saving my buttons tonight and helping me create a show. So
thank you, everyone. Love, shine your light.
That's right. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Introducing Carl's Jr.'s $5 All-Star Meals. Loaded with satisfying classics. For just $5, you get a charbroiled double cheeseburger hot dog and, oh yeah, fries, drink, and a fresh baked cookie. Or a double cheeseburger, a spicy chicken sandwich, and what? The fries, drink, cookie thing again? Or hand-breaded tenders and, spoiler alert, fries, drinks, and cookies for days, y'all. All for just $5. The $5 All-Star Meals. Stop by Carl's Jr. and get yourself one today. Price of participation may vary. Prices higher in Alaska and Hawaii. Tax not included.
Do you suffer from chronic CFED or can't focus energy drain? Try over-the-counter Vibrant. One tablet contains the same caffeine as a cup of coffee, but without the calories or coffee breath. Vibrant. Caffeine, not coffee. Taking Vibrant may result in a lack of drowsiness, improved productivity, and better cash flow from decreased coffee spending. Unexpected job promotions have been associated with Vibrant. Vibrant may decrease the urge to zone out, doze off, or exhibit signs of slacking. All jokes aside, always read the label, take only as directed, and limit caffeine as it may cause real side effects. Not for children under age 12.